Finding an apartment in London is a daunting task. Listings get posted and are gone within the hour. There are bidding wars and contract length negotiations. And on top of all of that, everything is super, super expensive. So your budget will probably have to be raised as well. So if you want tips on how to actually find an apartment, the best websites to use, how the process works, and all that, make sure you check out this video. We are really, really lucky that we got this apartment. I think it was a combo of really horrible and blurry photos online, so maybe not a lot of people inquired about it, and timing. I was able to view the apartment the same day the post went up, and then we moved in that weekend. It's about 450 square feet, 1 bedroom plus an office for $17.50 in West London, only a few tube stops away from the city center, surrounded by tons of transport options, parks, restaurants, and pubs, so I'm super happy with how everything turned out. Without further ado, let's take a look at the apartment and what 1,750 pounds, about 2,200 USD, gets you in London. Alright, so we walk right into our little entrance room. We have living room, bedroom, bathroom, and office, so it's a small little room, but it does its job. On the back of the front door, we have some hooks just to hang our coats. And then we have our phone here, which we can buzz people into the building, you know, friends, Amazon delivery, whatever it may be. Whoops. And now let's go ahead and start in the office. So this is something that was a complete surprise to us. We were only looking at 1 bedroom, so it's so nice to walk in and see this little surprise. As you can see, of course, it is very tiny. We have a desk here, a little table, a shoe bench, and then this, you know, bookshelf, but it does its job. Nick works fully remote, so it's really nice for him to have his own space here. He has a big desk, he has his Xbox hidden behind here, a huge monitor, this little stand, corkboard, this really awesome world map on a canvas. We have storage for shoes, and then the bench actually lifts up and we can put a bunch of stuff in there, which is nice. And then, honestly, this bookshelf is mostly for looks because it is a little bit of an awkward room since this sticks out. We didn't really know what to put there, but fills the space quite nicely. On the back of the door, we do have some hooks, which you'll see pretty much in all of the rooms because, as most London apartments are, they don't have a lot of built-in storage or a lot of places to have storage because it's so small. So again, we try to find solutions like this table lifts up and there's tons of storage in there. There's also plugs in here. This is Nick's messy spot, so we'll leave that alone. But we have our yoga mats under there. So you just try to get creative with where you're storing stuff. But yeah, that was our bonus office room, which we were really happy to get. Next, we can go right next door to the bathroom. Here's get a full shot because it's hard to see when we go all the way in. But again, we have the door hooks here. Then we walk in, pretty standard. We have the toilet, we have a little trash can next to it, the mat. We have the vanity. We do have the mirror that does open up for more storage, which is nice, but it's pretty much just the mirror and then just that. So we did get an extra big basket down there to put more storage in because, again, very small, not a lot of storage. And then we have the shower, which, again, we added this and then those two things up there for more storage. We also added a double shower filter. So we have a shower filter here and then we changed out the shower head for an extra filter because the water in London is very hard. So it's not good for your hair or skin. So definitely recommend getting one of those if you're moving to London, get a shower filter. But that's probably a standard size of a bathroom here in London, unless obviously you get a bathtub, it'll be slightly bigger, but you know, no complaints. It does its job. It has everything that we need. We don't need too much. And now we will move on to the bedroom, which is really quite large, especially since we already have an office. But here is pretty much all of it. I can't really get all of it in one shot. But we walk in, and now we have my little desk area. So I have a little bit smaller setup than Nick. I don't need too much. I'm only here 3 days a week, not all 5. Little painting. We have this wardrobe. Again, I think I mentioned in another video, they do not have any built-in closets here in London, so you have to get your own. So we have this one that allows us to hang clothes and fold with a mirror. And then I have extra storage bins on top, and then I have extra storage bins underneath our bed, underneath our couch, lots of places. So again, just being creative with storage because there's not a lot of places to do that. This is a double bed, so it might look normal in the camera, but for us Americans, having 2 people sleep on this double bed, it is tight. It's very, very small. We're used to doing at least a queen or a king size bed. So yeah, that'll be an adjustment if you do move over here, because this was given to us by the landlord along with the wardrobe that I just showed you. And then this couch, which was supposed to be, of course, for the living room, but it's not that comfortable, to be honest. It's a little small. So we just thought it fit well in here just to kind of round out the space since it's so big. We do want to get some artwork for that wall because it's driving me nuts that it is just white with no artwork. So hopefully we can find something soon. I didn't realize how expensive artwork and then how expensive frames were, so I was only able to get this one, which I really like. But hopefully we can find something else. Underneath we have an air mattress for storage, which you don't really need to see, but again, just taking advantage of all the little places underneath that you can. Even our suitcases are stored underneath there. And then we have our Wi-Fi here on the side table. We have a little fan, which we really don't need now, especially because it's so cold, but we do use it when we're drying our clothes. We store our thing here. So we put the fan on the clothes to dry them a bit faster. And then we do have a really, really nice window view. It's just beautiful trees right outside of our door, and getting to watch them change colors in fall has been such a dream. I've never lived anywhere that has fall colors before. So that is our room. Again, pretty big. Little recap, and then to finish it off, we have more storage because again, where are you supposed to put your shoes or put more storage? So always utilizing the back of the doors, underneath of things, all those little nooks and crannies here in London apartments, since for Americans they are quite small compared to what we're used to. So you really got to make it work for storage options. Now we can head back out into our last room, which is the living room. So again, it's pretty big in my opinion. I know like it might not feel that way to some Americans who are watching this video, but we have this really big L couch here. Again, so glad we got rid of that as our main couch and we got this super comfy, cozy couch. Behind we have a little bit of artwork, which I really like. Very simple, clean, modern. We have a little blanket. We have some storage bins underneath our coffee table. We have this little chair, a side table with an orange vase to try to match our really cool paintings. And then we have a clock here, which eventually will tell time when I put batteries in it, but right now it does not. And then we have our TV setup. So we have a 50-inch TV here. So that kind of gives you an idea of how big this space is. We have our TV stand. Originally we had this as the TV stand, but we didn't really like it, and it was like barely the size of the TV, so it looked really small. So I really like this, bringing in the natural wood. And then it made me want to get this, which is, it's on wheels. So it's like a little kitchen island cart that we could roll out and put in the middle of our kitchen if we really wanted to create more space. But I like it there. Again, more storage. In our kitchen, we only have one drawer for our silverware, of course. So we wanted like a junk drawers, places to put a bunch of other stuff. So we needed that. And then it obviously gives us more storage underneath. We have storage there, we have another bin, we have another bin. So there's bins and baskets everywhere, trying to take advantage of every little nook and cranny. Then we move in to the kitchen. Again, right here in this little crack, you can see we have our ironing board. We have a small fridge, which I know a lot of Americans are thinking, oh my gosh, that's the only fridge that you have. But it's really not that bad. We go to the grocery store basically every day, so it's just for that day's fresh ingredients. You can see we kind of keep like, these are all the things we'd use on the daily, and then here we haven't gone to the store yet, so we just have a little bit of chicken and sausage, but We usually go every day, maybe every other day, and just get dinner and food for that day. So keep it fresh, and that's all you really need, that size of a fridge for that. So here's a good look at the entire kitchen. Not too big, not too small. I'm happy with it. I'm not a huge cook. I cook every day, but I'm not like using 6 burners or anything like that, a bunch of pots and pans, so it works for us. Right next to here, we do have storage. This is where we put our trash can, but it does go back pretty far, all the way around the corner, so we are able to put quite a bit of things back there, like all cleaning supplies and whatnot. We have our silverware drawer, which I just showed you. We have this, which right now is just for protein, so we have a little bit of space there. This, unfortunately, is nothing. It's just our water heater, so it's a lack of a cupboard. We have this cupboard with our dry food here. We have our drying rack because, as you can see, there is no dishwasher, so we do have to wash all of our dishes by hand. Drying rack here. We have our blender, paper towels, cooking utensils, olive oil. We have a gas stove, 4 burners. So something that I mentioned in some of my other videos that you can kind of start to see here, all of the plugs have an on or off switch, and that includes the stove. So if you want to use the stove, you have to turn it on first, and then you're able to turn on the oven or the stove. And that's the same thing for the washer here, which is just a washer, not a dryer. If you want to use the washer, you have to turn it on here, and then it'll work. So if you don't turn that on, it won't work. We have an air fryer, we have a tea kettle, we have like teas and spices in this one. We have all of our plates, bowls, cups in that one. And then we have another basket for a junk drawer and our laundry detergent, and then pots and pans. And then we have our oven, which is a little bit different than an American oven. We have all of these symbols here, which I had to Google how to use them, but I always use this one. Hopefully that's the right one. And yeah, so there is our kitchen. There is our living room combined. And then one thing that I do really like, we have these big windows, just to give you a frame of reference. It's about 8:30 in the morning. Right now, as I'm filming, do not have a light on in this house at all. So this entire video is just all from natural light. So that was a huge reason why I wanted to pick this apartment. One thing I really like is right here, you can see on our windows, we have this netting to keep the bugs out. So you do have to open the windows quite a bit, even though it's freezing. You can see how cold it is. You do have to open them up because when you're cooking, you gotta let everything air out and you don't want bugs to come in. So we put those on there ourselves. There's Velcro all lining every single edge of the windows. So that's a really nice feature that I would recommend doing. None of the apartments are gonna come with that, but if you add that in, it adds some value to your life, your sanity, because there aren't bugs constantly coming in, and it's super, super easy and not that expensive. Also, something I would recommend getting is a Wi-Fi extender. I know it sounds crazy. Our apartment's only 450 square feet, but this wall that separates the bedroom and the living room, it is solid brick. Absolutely solid brick. So even though our Wi-Fi sits right here, it would not reach at all if we were sitting right on the couch. And we were super confused, and we realized that's just solid brick. It's not going through. So once we got that Wi-Fi extender, it was like 15 pounds on Amazon. Now it works perfectly for our TV and if we're sitting on the couch trying to use our phones or laptops. And the last thing I'll say, as I'm just kind of giving you the quick little wrap-up tour, is that this is a brand new build. So we are the first people to live in it ever since it has been renovated, which means it has double pane windows. We can't hear any of the street noise. Obviously, you can see all the floors are brand new. You can tell that the kitchen has been redone. Even the bathroom, you know, the marble on the walls is super nice. There we go, light adjusted. But that's something, you know, it wasn't a must-have on my list, but it was nice. As soon as I did find that out, I was super happy that we were the first people to live in it. It's brand new. Everything was renovated. You know that it's gonna work. You're not gonna have a bunch of problems. So I think that is really important, and also the windows, because as soon as I open these up, you hear everything. I know the microphone's turned the opposite way, but you hear everything. It is so loud. Silence. Now let's compare this apartment to what you can get in Austin, Texas for $400 USD less.